he starts out by saying, historically and broadly speaking, Christianity has addressed the problem of moral evil in kind of two primary ways. First, the most prominent response is some variation of the free will defense, which we've covered, which says that God has no specific purpose for evil, and that is an unfortunate consequence of granting his creatures the valuable gift of libertarian free will, that there's nothing that tells us we must make a decision. It's by our own wants, wishes. Even then, sometimes
we can arbitrarily make any decision at any time.
There seems to be that factor, and nothing really holds us back or forward in making those decisions. So that has been kind of one of the main key staples. But there are others that we covered when we did the introduction, and once we cover it, the definitions that were in those first ones, I'll pop up on the screen so that it will remind you of what specifically we're talking about in the logical order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the issue is, how do we deal with free will? The first way he's saying here, and we saw last time, as you mentioned, how do we deal with evil? The first way is free will, right? The free will defense, it attempts to show basically that the existence of God is compatible with evil, that the reason why there's evil is because we have free will, and free will is so important and so valuable that God says, okay, whatever you do, I'm going to let you do it because of the value of free will.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. And so that's why there's evil. And so Christensen doesn't like that, and we saw that last time, right? He thinks that that has some problems. So the second solution to the evil issue is, he says, some variation of the Greater-Good Theodicy, right? The Greater-Good defense, he says he'll use that interchangeably. So theodicy, defense, right? And so he's going to look at that in this particular chapter, in chapter 6. So in contrast to the general goods of the free will defense, he says this theodicy indicates that God decrees evil because it accomplishes some particular greater good, right? Or in some cases prevents a worse evil.
Right.
That would not be possible unless evil were part of the equation. So that's the basic idea of this greater goods defense or greater goods theology, right?
So in this chapter 6, we will explore several other defenses and theodicies that are akin to the greater good defense or correlate to it in some way. And we'll kind of cover the definitions and the broad areas, and then we'll get into the kind of the critique a little bit of where Christensen sees those theories coming up a little short. These are soul-making theodicies, the best of all possible worlds defense, and the divine judgment defense.
Yeah. And again, what I really like about Christensen is his transparency here, right? He is willing to say, look, these positions have problems that we need to make sure we work through if we're going to hold a position. And so what he does here, as you mentioned here, is give us the position and then points out some of the problems with a promissory note that he's going to deal with them in later chapters. Right?
Yeah. Keep you turning.
That's right. So it says here that many passages of Scripture indicate that these second-order goods come forth from first-order evils. So second-order goods come from first-order evils. For example, James, right? James 1, 2 through 4. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. So there's the first order evils. We're meeting trials, right? First order. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. There's the second order good, right? After you do this first order, this is a kind of a result here. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. So such a good could be achieved by God, he suggests, in no other way. You have to have this in order to get here, is the kind of the idea here, right?
I kind of view it as the gym metaphor. You know, you go and you're breaking down your body. You're tearing, you're making microfractures and all the scientific terms of you're moving weights from one point to another point and never getting anywhere. But over time, those weights start getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and you're having to put on more and more and more. And soon your bodybuilder are able to, lift the refrigerator if you need to move it from a scotch over here to a scotch over here, and it's become easier because you've done the hard work of breaking down your body. You've gone to the gym every single day for the past year, and there's the outcome. You did something that was a greater good in the end. The evil was breaking down your muscle, the sore, the time to do it, and then boom, you've got the muscle to do it, and
that's the second
you're looking
order
over
good.
it.
Yeah, yeah.